Now, the most reasonable talk show host from Sop Choppy to the Redneck Riviera, here is Bob Kerrigan.
And good evening. Welcome to Within Reason. I'll be with you now for an hour for your entertainment tonight. And there's a lot to be entertained about. If you're listening to the news, all the talk show hosts have been orchestrated at their morning meeting and given these instructions. We need to press the patriotism theme again because the deer skinner is not working. She had a lovely trip to Washington where they took her around and introduced her to some people, and she actually met some heads of foreign governments. It was a wonderful, exciting time for her, kind of like Girls State, where she actually got to meet important people and pretend that she was really talking to them about substantive issues other than moose carving and the Iditarod. You know, they're going to bring change to Washington, he and the deer skinner, real change. The kind of thing people really need in Washington, a fresh new voice. Of course, he's been there 22 years, but he's got the deer skinner, and she has a fresh new voice, and they've got a fresh new plan, and holding hands together, they're not Republicans. They are no longer Republicans. They are the Mavericks, and they're coming to town to straighten out Washington. You know, the country's in a crisis. This is amazing to me. Conservatives are begging the government to give your money to the fools and goons that have wasted and lost it. Now, let me ask you this. For responsible bankers and responsible financial institutions, they're not in any trouble. They've got some bad loans just because of the escalating nature of this, but they're solid. Our banks are solid. Many of our great banks are solid as a rock. But all the high flyers and wheeler dealers, they need to be rescued. Now, what kind of goofy plan is that? Well, it's a Republican plan. You see, the Republicans are conservative and therefore family values and therefore more freedom and less government. Well, they're not really for family values when it comes to the vice president. They're sort of like a mixed kind of values, and it's like, okay, they're just a typical family with a lot of problems. So their family values platform is basically, well, families have a lot of problems, and our family has more problems. And, you know, McCain's had all kinds of personal problems, and his wife's been a drug addict and stuff. But anyway, they're for basically family values, and they're for less government. Less government? Are you kidding me? This is a massive government giveaway to Wall Street. And they're likening this to the real estate trust organization when they had the S&L debacle under Reagan, their favorite Republican. But the only problem is, in the S&L debacle, and they had to sell all the assets of these savings loans, like 286, I think, failed. You know, huge number failed because of deregulation under Ronald Reagan. I mean, he was the principal culprit who caused all this to happen. Because that's their view. We don't need government. Government gets in the way of creative business. And creative business has a solution for this country in the free enterprise of the United States. That's the system that works, the free enterprise system, capitalism at its core, unregulated. That's the answer. Okay? Well, you know, capitalism is fabulous, but we have proved in this country that there are times when the greed of business gets in the way of self-regulation. I mean, that's why we have antitrust laws, because if you allow corporations, they will conspire, they will fix prices because they make more money. So we have laws that you can't do that. And we have laws regulating loans and investments and banking. The problem is, under Ronald Reagan, and now again under Bush, the regulatory scheme that controls these financial institutions has been just emasculated. And the person behind all of this was Senator McCain's close friend and economic advisor, Phil Gramm. Okay? So now that we have the big picture is that McCain was one of the problems, one of the causes of the current problem, rather. All right, back to the The Nation article, William Grider, if Wall Street gets away with this, it will represent an historic swindle of the American public, all sugar for the villains, lasting pain and damage for the victims. My advice to Washington, he says, stop, take a deep breath, and examine what you're being told to do by the so-called responsible opinion. If this deal succeeds, I predict it will become a transforming event in American politics. I agree with that. Christopher Walden of International Risk and Analytics, a brave conservative critic, put it plainly, the joyous reception from congressional Democrats to Paulson's latest massive bailout proposal smells an awful lot like yet another corporate love fest between Washington's one-party government and the sell-side investment banks. I am so disappointed with the Democrats. Why isn't Bill Nelson standing up and saying, just a minute, the last time you rammed something through without giving us adequate opportunity to understand what we were doing caused over 4,000 American young men and women to lose their lives, tens of thousands of Iraqis, and billions and billions and billions of dollars of waste because you forced us with phony information and phony support to launch into an invasion of a sovereign nation. You forced us to do it. I would think the Democrats will be saying, wait just a second. This is a terrible plan. We are rewarding the people who have caused this problem. We are giving them a get-out-of-jail-free card. Why aren't the Democrats speaking up? Well, it's because they see a chance to get something for themselves out of this. And they don't want to buck public opinion. You see, that's why they didn't oppose the Iraq War. That's why they haven't opposed Bush. He and Karl Rove were masters at fixing public opinion in a way that if you spoke out against it, you might not get reelected, or you would receive some sanctions for it by standing up. But it's high time the Democrats tell Harry Reid to sit down and be quiet, and they need to stand up, and they need to speak up, and they need to oppose this massive bailout of these Wall Street guys that caused all of this to happen. Is there something the government can do? Yes, if we take time and we're careful and deliberative and understand the long-term consequences of it. Yes, there is something the government can do, and really the government is going to have to do it because the free markets have collapsed because of a complete lack of regulation. That's what's caused it. I get 3 letters the same day in the John McCain campaign. I would say that this means that they have some trouble. Let's see what this letter says. Dear Mr. Kerrigan, this is interesting. The letter is dated Monday morning. That's not really on the calendar. Monday morning, I need your immediate help and active participation in the campaign to decide America's future. You need to send us money right away. That's dated Monday morning. All right, let's see what this letter says. This letter is from the Republican National Committee. That letter was from Mr. McCain himself. It was quite pleasant to get that letter from the sender. Republican National Committee says, well, this is Wednesday morning. We still don't have a date. Dear friend, I don't want to believe you've abandoned the Republican Party, but I have to ask, have you given up? My answer is yes. And anybody with any sense would do the same thing. Are you crazy? Why would you give money? Why would you give money? You guys get billions and millions and millions and millions of dollars from all your corporate buddies. Why do you want $50 from me? What do you think that's going to do? All right, let's see what this says. So I like to read these letters because they're always a source of great entertainment. I am 100% committing to leading our party to victory in this November's elections. Style John McCain. This letter, you say, Kerrigan, what's the date? Tuesday morning. Okay, I got a Monday morning, a Tuesday morning, and Wednesday morning, and because the mails don't work so hot, I got them all on the same day. I'm Within Reason, Bob Kerrigan, your host. This program is rebroadcast Monday night at 10 and Friday night at 10, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Thanks for watching.